Out there in Facebook land. This is Tony Taylor coming from New York City, and I had a great time out there in Hollywood. Me and my sons, we went out there and we supported my pastors out there for the function that we had, a service and a church service networking event. And I want to share with you tonight that I met a great woman out there, a friend, a great new friend by the name of Julie Lee. We have been talking on Facebook, social media. She's an author, upcoming producer, and so we were talking and invited her out to the event out there in Hollywood. So she said she would come, and she was very nice to come, along with our adopted sister, So Mary. And so we had a chance to sit down and talk with her as we set up a time, which was like on that Thursday. We had dinner at a Japanese lunch, I should say, at a Japanese restaurant. I didn't have any sushi, but I ate some other food, and my sons, they had some sushi and stuff. But we had a great time, and she began to just pour her heart and the vision that God has given her, her life story of survival, how she prayed to God at the age of 5, 6 years old. You know, concerning in the 1970s, the nation of Cambodia went through a terrible time. It was a deadly, violent decade for them in the 1970s. And we understand about in the world, there's a lot of things that have taken place as we look upon, the history. Like, for instance, with the Jews, they were persecuted and they were killed. As you look at the black nation, we went through slavery. But there's other people that have suffered in other parts of the world as well. And I want to bring to your attention about the nation of Cambodia. That's right, in the 1970s, it was a terrible time for them. And there was a particular person by the name of Salif Sar. He was a failure as an electrician. It just comes to let you know that whatever you yield your members to, that is the servant that you're going to be of. He was a failure as an electrician, but as he yielded himself to demonic powers, the communists, he got training from a French communist that sent him to Paris, and they actually schooled him how to be a torturer, how to be a murderer, how to be a killer. Yes, they trained him in Paris, and then he was sent back to Cambodia. He emerged as being the head of a communist group there in Cambodia, which go by the name of Khmer Rouge, or a better name by the Red Cambodia. Now, these group of people were communists. And Julie's story is very powerful because at her age, 5, 6 years old, as she began to see the sufferings of her people, they were tortured, killed, murdered in ways that's unimaginable. There was a brother by the name of Brother Douch, I should say. There was unspeakable torture and executions that were on daily around the clock. They actually took the nation of Cambodia under a rulership of such evil that you can't even imagine, as I say. Now, her as a young child, she remembered these stories as her and her family grew from being rich. Julie Lee was she was rich. Her families were rich. But when this man by the name of Salif Sar, which was a failure, when he got trained by this French connection, he was returned, as I said, to Cambodia. And the Khmer Rouge, they teamed up together and they closed down hospitals and schools, libraries. This guy, his name was changed to Pol Pot. Now you may say, who the hell is Pol Pot? Pol Pot was one wicked man more than Adolf Hitler. That's right, I'm telling you. Millions were killed by this man. With the rulership that he had in place, the devil trained him. He raised up others. They raised up camps and refugee camps. And these people, the Cambodians, had to live on farms. They were brainwashed. They brainwashed their children to sing songs about this man, Pol Pot. But the beautiful thing about it, as I looked at the stories of This Cambodian girl by the name of Julie Lee, she was one that stood out. She was not one that went by the majority. She was the minority. And she stood up as she was in that school. She would not sing the songs praising this man, Pol Pot. Actually, she faked it. She was, as I was reading the story about her in chapter 1, the Cambodian girl, talking about how they would brainwash the children and had them to sing songs about Pol Pot, how good and how great he was. She camouflaged herself with the kids, but as she moved her mouth, she didn't really sing the words. And the teacher caught spot on her, put her on the spot, and demanded her that she would sing the song. And at such an early age, she said no. She said that Pol Pot was a devil. And as I began to read more of the story, it just began to get greater and greater. The things that this child remembered at such a young age. She remembered details. Now, Julie Lee suffered a lot. Her family suffered a lot. But they were rich first. But you need to get the book. It's called A Voice from the White Horse. That's right, A Voice from the White Horse. I encourage you to get this book. It's a book of truth. The world knows about the story of Hitler, how the Jews were killed. The world knows about the story about the black nation, how we suffered slavery, and many of our people as a black nation were killed and tortured. But you need to know, the world needs to know this story. A story about the nation of Cambodia. The truth is out and the truth is being told through her book. I encourage you to get her book. It talks about her life story, her family, how God used her father, how God used her uncle, Uncle Samuel, Uncle Vi, how God used her grandfather, how God began to hear her prayers as she cried out as a young child. She began to cry because of the torture and the slaying and the murdering and the affliction of her people. And God began to minister to her in dreams by a voice from the white horse. I encourage you to get the book. It's powerful. It's inspirational. It's sad news. It's good news. And it's a voice, a story of victory, a story of triumphant, a story of survival. They had the trouble in their homes. They had to leave by gunpoint by this Khmer Rouge group. They had no time to prepare. They had to just grab up what they can grab up, and they had to leave the city. They had to travel over the bridge. They had to go through the waters into the jungle. I'm up to chapter 5 in this book, and I'm telling you, you need to get it because the truths and the experiences, what they went through, is unimaginable. I encourage you people all around the world, support her. Reach out to her. Julie Lee, A Voice from the White Horse. God is an answer to prayer. She cried out, and God showed her through dreams. God showed her and her family how to come out to be survivors. Support. I encourage you to support. God bless you. Julie Lee, keep rocking. Keep doing your thing. More to come, y'all. God bless.